Well, hello, and welcome to Miss G's Ladies Lounge. Hey, everybody, it's Gwen, better known as Miss G. Welcome to Manifestation Moments with Miss G, where we talk faith, vision, and action to help you keep moving forward. Tonight, we're diving into another powerful story that I know will encourage and inspire you. So grab your notebook and lean in. All right, family, let's jump right into today's episode of Manifestation Moments with Miss G. Get ready to be inspired, encouraged, and empowered. Let's go. All right, well, welcome back. Welcome back once again to Manifestation Moments. Listen, with Miss G, I'm here on the podcast where faith, vision, and action comes together to inspire your journey. And I am your host, Gwen Miss G. Finley. I'm an author, recently releasing my third book, which is an anthology entitled Visionary Momentum Unleashed. I am a publisher, visionary startup, and book coach, and a multifaceted empowerment leader committed to helping women and visionaries bring their purpose to life. And each week, I dive into powerful conversations with those who are turning passion into possibility and manifestation. And my goal is to encourage you, challenge you, and remind you that a vision without any progress is just another dream, right? A vision with no progress, just another dream. That's all it is. I want to remind you of that. So we want you to get ready to manifest your own dreams and visions. And so here we are. We are here to have uplifting conversations which are designed to speak momentum into your life. Today, I'm honored to introduce my guest, Elder Tara L. Culton. She is a transformational speaker, an author, a clergywoman, and an advocate whose mantra is mental health illness. It's a disease, not a shame. She's a suicide attempt survivor who leverages her lived experiences, and professional expertise as a certified peer recovery coach and recovery specialist, an emotional CPR educator, a NAMI state trainer to help others build, and a NAMI state trainer where she helps others rebuild their lives. She's also a co-author in our anthology, Visionary Momentum Unleashed, where she contributed the inspiring story From Rubble to Resurrection, a visionary's blueprint for rising. Please join me in welcoming my guest on tonight, Elder Tara Culton, to the show. Elder Tara, hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing really, really great. As someone asked earlier in the meeting, it's like, describe your internal temperature. Mine is sunny with lots of beautiful blue skies
What a forecast. What a forecast, right?
Uh-huh.
That's what we needed, especially after all of that rain.
Oh
I
my
was,
goodness, yeah.
yeah, this morning I woke up and I saw, I looked at the weather report and it said sunny outside. And when I got outside, it was just as cloudy and the ground was still wet. And I said, well,
Yeah.
what weather are they looking at?
Right, right, right.
Probably looking at the weather like you. Just
Yes, yes.
and that's what we have to have that internal sunshine going on, right?
Yes, right. That's right.
That's right. So listen, listen. I'm so excited to have you here in the studio once again. You're not a newbie. You're back again, and so
Thank
we
you.
always love having our family and our friends come back. That means we must be doing something right to have you come
Woo!
back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So let's just go ahead and flow right on into this conversation.
Okay.
We talked about already that you are also a co-author in our anthology entitled Visionary Momentum Unleashed.
Yes.
And so in your chapter, which is entitled Rubble from Rubble to Resurrection, right? Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's your title. First of all, tell me how you just, how you came up with this title. Let's start there. How you came up with, I want to talk about from rubble to resurrection. How did you get there?
It was a long journey, as most of anyone's story is. There were so many maladaptive behaviors that I had acquired to survive. They became the building blocks, they became the studs in the wall of my life, if you will. But they were horrible. And I look back on some incidents, even as I'm speaking with you, knowing that, oh my God, I hurt so many people, but I was mostly hurting myself.
Mm,
And it started in childhood when I had a lot of traumatic experiences. I had a physical abuse from both men and women from the age of 5. So it was the
mm,
rubble. It was one thing building on top of the other. I also lost my biological father at the age of 9. And I was a daddy's girl, but not in the traditional sense that we think of that. It was that I was the um, first surviving child. So wherever daddy went, I went. Whatever
right.
he did, I wanted to do. And then one day he wasn't there. So we move into the teenage years and just one thing on top of the other. So I recognized that my life had just become this big pile of
Mm.
rubble that needed something to happen. So that's how I came up with the title. I was like, yeah, that's what God did. He's resurrected me in the life I live now.
Wow, wow, what a powerful story. I know you've got so much inside of you that you can just pin today, tomorrow, the next day. And so, we look forward to even reading more of your story and not just of the experiences that you went through, but the overcoming of all of that. That's the important part of. It's not the important more important than the rest of the story, but it's important to
Yeah.
know that there was an overcoming, right?
There's yes, yes, and there's
Yes,
hope.
yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
so you write that God excavates your life. He's not destroying, but preparing the foundation for something greater. Can you share a moment in your journey where you actually experienced this truth firsthand?
Yes. One moment where I really thought I was like, I'm not even sure God loves
Mhm.
me at this point. What in the world is happening? And I was working on my job and I was having a mental health episode, which looked just like I'm looking now. Nothing looked
Right.
out of order. Nothing looked out of order at all. And I ended up in I was working for a large hospital in
Mm.
our area. And I ended up in the ER, spent 4 days in the hospital. They ran every test known to man, as I say, not
Right.
literally, but I'm,
Right.
saying that figuratively. And, last day the doctor says, is your chest still hurting? And blah, 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 blah. I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
it is. Um, and no one asked me at that time about depression, anxiety, not one person. And I think it's because I worked for the doctors who were treating me, and they always called me Miss
No.
Smiley. They never, I was
Mm-hmm.
hiding it. And so it all came crashing down, like literally. I left that job, I left that desk in February 2016, and Elder Gwen, I have not been back
Wow.
since. So I thought that my life was over. Like, what am I going to do? Da, 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 da. And then God resurrected it by allowing me to use my story to guide and help others. And most importantly, to encourage them to stay here because tomorrow needs you, and to tell them that they are not
Right.
alone.
So you were having a physical ailment from a mental crisis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My blood pressure was 200. I can't remember. I'm going to look that up because it is in my chart. It was 200 and something over 100 and something. They immediately rushed me back because, see, your body tells the story, which, by the way, is a book. I didn't write it, but it is a book. Your body tells the story. So while I was stuffing everything, and also I was stuffing it with food as well,
Mhm.
I was. So my body was, oh, forgive me. My body was saying, no, you can't
Right.
do that. If you don't give me what I need, I'm about to take what I need. And it did. And that's what we don't often make the connection between
Yeah.
what our thoughts and our feelings and all of that, because there's a difference, which is a whole nother
Mhm.
conversation, between the brain and our mind and our thoughts. We often lump it together. But my body was
Yeah.
yelling for help. I would go home crying every day. I would go home aching all over, and there was no diagnosis for that because it was just it was just a result, excuse me, of what was going on with me mentally.
Wow. Wow. So
Mhm.
powerful. Yeah, I can see a lot of stories within that. Your mind starts just thinking. And as a nurse, I've seen this. We're talking about manifestation, but there are different types of manifestations, and some
Absolutely.
symptoms
I know.
manifest in our bodies because of what we're going through. So those are
Yes.
things to think about as well. And a lot of people don't realize sometimes that the sicknesses they have are not necessarily because their body is going through something, but their body is responding to their mind, or their
Absolutely
the
true.
emotions even. So we are. Hello, Miss Lynn. We're so glad to see you here. Miss Lynn is in the studio, and we're going to have Miss Lynn on the show pretty soon. So come back and make sure you check in with us as Miss Lynn joins us pretty soon. So let's get back to talking about the anthology. Your story, as I said, is just so powerful. But in this particular story, you actually tell us about your overcoming some of the situations. And so let's talk about your story as it's described as a blueprint for rising. And what are one or two key principles from that blueprint that you hope readers and listeners will carry into their own lives?
I really would hope that they would carry the knowledge and the understanding that God has a blueprint for you. He has always had a blueprint for you, and that nothing gets
Mhm.
built unless we have a blueprint or a plan. In my case, I use a metaphor of construction and rebuilding, because we say often, we being humans, you hear a lot of people say, that's just the way I am. That's, I'm not going to change, or whatever. I can't change. But
Yeah,
scientifically, we know that
yeah,
that is not true. That is not true. And so I want them to be able to take away the realities, not just the fact. It's just like their reality. It is the truth. And a lot of times I think we get confused because something might be a fact, but it doesn't
right,
mean it's your
right, right.
truth. It
Mhm.
might be a fact, but it doesn't mean it's your truth. And I want them to walk away knowing that in that blueprint, they're going to have to
Mhm.
do some work. It's going to take, they've got the blueprint. Now we've got to start
Mhm.
rebuilding. If we're all of the rubble I talked about before, where I had built this unsteady um, uh, foundation. I built I'd laid an unsteady foundation to build my life upon. Well, I came back, after having that mental health episode on my job and began to just tear down. It's like, okay, well, what I thought God was doing was tearing down, but He wasn't. And I want them to know that He's not tearing you down. He's preparing you for something much greater. He's preparing you. My position in the kingdom of God is that of a footer. And for those that are aware, every foundation has to have footers. Those are the things you don't see, but those are the things that hold you up. Find what your footers are. We know it's going to be the word of God. We know it's going to be your support system. Find that as you're rebuilding. So you've got your blueprint. So you've got your blueprint, you've got your permits, because before you can build, you have to get your permit. So permit yourself to change, permit yourself to grow, permit yourself to rebuild on what was once a pile of rubble, and to know that they can indeed do that. So,
Yeah, I mean that's powerful in itself. That is so powerful in itself, and the total metaphor is really when you think about, like you said, there has to be a strong foundation, there has to be some footing, there has to be so many different things, but even that you can't. You have to build on it, like you said. It has to. So
you got to
yeah,
do
it
the
has to
work.
go upward. You can't just stay in that spot and expect. You just lay that foundation and leave that there. That's all it's going to be. There's not going to be anything
That's it.
else to it.
Nothing.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
then the debris and everything else just piles up on top of the foundation, right? So I'm
Yeah.
cool about
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. Because even as you build, and God gave me that particular metaphor, and I think I gotta hurry up and make sure I
Absolutely.
copyright it and trademark it and all that good stuff. But even as you build, there's going to be debris. You're going to have moments when you have to clean up the work site, and the work site is you. The work site is your emotions. It is your um mind, your will, your emotions. And you have to make sure that you are doing the work. It's no sense of saying that, yeah, I'm going to rebuild my mindset, because I don't use the word shifting. It may slip out every now and then, but I purposefully use rebuild your
Right.
mindset. You have to do the work. It's not, nothing's going to drop out of the sky, and then there's going to be
Mhm.
like the I think it was on the Wizard of Oz, where
The
the house
whole
just
house.
fell. you know a whole house. It was a whole house
Yeah.
already built. That's not
Uh-huh.
how it works.
Mhm.
That's not how it works. So yeah, doing the work is very important, Elder Gwen. It is, and you do it step by step. There's a process to it.
Okay. All right, so let's shift gears back to your story and your actual words that you have shared, even in the story. You said your mantra is, or even in your bio, your mantra, mental health is not a disease. It's a disease, not a shame. So, what does that mean to you personally, and why is it so important to you to share that message?
As I was recovering from, at the time that I left my job, I was on leave for everything that was going on with me mental health wise, but I ended up having to have a surgery. And during that time, God said, my cousin was having an
Mm-hmm.
anthology. And so I was like, no, I'm not telling this. I ain't telling nobody this. This no, get thee behind me, Satan, and don't push. We're not doing this. No. And God said, it's time. And I was like, no, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, nope, that's not God.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was I was literally in a chair, and God said, mental health illness, literally with the
Mm-hmm.
period. It's a disease, not a shame. Because, and he explained to me, I was full of shame and even some guilt, but I was like, no, I don't want to share this with anybody. They're going to think this way and that way. What am I going to go back and tell the church? Do 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 da 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 blah 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 blah. And that's, God gave it to me, and it has been my mantra ever since. Because we would not tell somebody who has high blood pressure not to take
Come
their
on
medicine,
now.
would we? We would not tell a diabetic not to take their
Right.
medicine, would
That's
we? We would not tell somebody who is living with congestive
Mhm.
heart failure not to take their
Mhm.
medicine, would we? We would not tell somebody all of these things. It is just
Mhm.
another illness. It's an illness of the brain. And yes, there are supernatural healings that can take place, but most often you've got to do some work and you may have to take some medication. And Elder Gwen, medication may be riding your bike. Medication may be journaling. Medication may be a walk on the beach.
Yeah.
Medication may be taking a
Yeah.
pill,
Yes.
you know. So whatever you and your healthcare provider or your mental health provider or your peer
Mhm.
specialist come up with, because you lead the conversation. And that's another thing I want people to know. You lead the conversation. Be an advocate for yourself. I had a pastor who used to say, be responsible for your own healing. That is not exactly the
Right. Right.
words, but you are. Take charge of that. Be that advocate, and know that it's important for you to speak up. And that in a nutshell, bringing it back around, is how that came to be, because it's not
Mhm.
shameful. That's the challenge now. We want to change this year's theme of Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, which is this month of September, is changing the narrative around suicide. And as a suicide attempt survivor, I was shameful about that as well. So I've learned now, nope, nope, it's just an illness. It's not a
Right.
shame.
Right. And that's really important because if people don't have the right understanding of that, um, they will
Hmm.
not see you in the right light. They'll forever be looking
Mm,
at you as a possibility for, another episode, or someone who could not cope with life or something like that. So that's very important for you and the individuals that you are dealing with,
absolutely.
because they have to understand
Absolutely.
that, and that's with anything. That's with anything that we do. Your past and your experiences do not define your future and your present, right?
That's it.
So
That's it.
that's something that
Right.
we have to definitely keep in mind. So you say you're a suicide attempt survivor who now helps others. How has your journey shaped the way that you connect with and support people facing similar struggles?
The first thing is, I know what it feels like to be isolated, even within yourself. As a person who has an introverted personality, and most people do not believe that, but I really am an introvert. Um, spending time by myself is no problem for me. I could stay inside my apartment building, in my apartment building, and not go outside of my apartment for 2 weeks, and I'm okay. I'm not sad or anything. However, the experience of being
Mhm.
isolated, the experience of having depressed episodes, the experience of being anxious, the experience of just having generalized anxiety, not just anxiety, but generalized anxiety, and what I call the other things, that has shaped my journey. In that when people start talking, I can almost detect exactly what they're going through, not the
Right,
situation, but what they might be
right.
dealing with. And I have compassion. I have so much compassion for people who are on their own mental health recovery journey, because I didn't have it when I was going through it. I didn't have it when I was a little girl, because traditionally and historically, the African American community, we did not talk about
Mhm.
things like this. Whatever happened in your house
Mhm.
did
Keep
what?
it in there.
Stayed in your house.
Yeah.
So I'm now urging people to
Mhm.
talk about it in a safe way, and creating spaces in a safe way. So that it shaped my journey, because I'm more compassionate. I am more attentive to signs of struggle in people. When they're talking with me, if they use certain words and behaviors, it's not like something pops off in my head and go ding, 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 ding. But it is, I'm more alert. I may sit up a little bit. I may just be aware that, okay, Tara might be struggling today. So it makes me compassionate, it makes me more aware, and it makes me more
Mhm.
active. In other words, take action. If I see something, I say
Mhm.
something. So those are the ways that it has impacted my
Yeah,
journey.
and then you're certified as an emotional CPR, suicide intervention, and peer recovery. So those are, I guess, those are some of the tools that you will utilize to how do you meet people where they are with those types of uh, tools.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. As a registered certified peer recovery specialist, something that I am just so godly proud of myself for doing. I am registered with the health professions here in the
Mhm.
Commonwealth to be able to help people. Peer recovery support looks different for everyone. You have to meet people, as you said, where they are. And then there's emotional CPR, is where we don't try to change or suggest anything. We sit with you in
Mhm.
your pain. So it's very empathic. It's
Mhm.
very being attuned to what's going on. It's not so much me listening out for the words, me listening out for behaviors. It's letting them know that they are okay where they are. Now, that being said, if I see something that is a 911 situation, I must act because I'm a mandated reporter. So I must act. And I also have to divulge that to people if they're talking to me about something. I'm a
Mhm.
mandated reporter. If you're about to hurt yourself or someone else, I'm going to have to
Call
call
somebody.
somebody.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's important as well. Knowing when that pivotal moment can be, and it could happen
Ooh,
just like
yeah.
that. Just like
Just like that.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Wow. I mean, you're doing an amazing work. It's everybody. It's not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. And even people who think, well, I get along with people well, but in those moments, you may not be the one, sis. You're gonna sit this one out. Let the professionals handle it. You keep them calm until somebody comes along, but you just might not be the one. And so you have to know that, and I know even in the medical field, we are trained to sometimes, de-escalate certain situations, but everybody, even in the medical field, ooh, as I often say, when I'm talking with our new employees and whatnot, I let them know if you feel like when you're in this environment that you are not the one, don't try to sit this one out. Call us. Don't bring in your patient, but call us and let us know so we can, find you a replacement. Because sometimes you do more
Absolutely.
damage than you do helping
Mhm.
by being in the wrong spot that you're not qualified to be in. And it doesn't take away from the
Absolutely.
qualifications that you do have. It's just that I've been a nurse for 35 years, but one thing you will never have me doing is working in the psych unit.
As
I'm not doing it. I went
Yeah,
there one time to pick somebody up, and I said, "Oh no, this is not for me." You're not gonna get me into jail. You're
yeah,
not gonna get me because those places are not for me. Not that I'm a
right,
nurse, and
right.
even though I can pass the pills and all, it's just not for me.
That to piggyback on what
Yeah.
you just said, um, I say often, I know where my anointing lies, and I don't lie about my anointing. When we walk into, for years, I did every Sunday, I would go into VCU, the psychiatric ward, the third and fourth floors,
Mhm.
1 hour on the third floor, 1 hour on the fourth floor. With fourth floor, then I go down to the third floor, myself and a
Mhm.
co-presenter. And the first time we did that, we let our agency know, our NAMI affiliate know, this is not you're not going to be able to send every peer
No.
person in here. You're not going to be able to send every volunteer in here. If they don't have the stamina to withhold this, because I used to go every single Sunday for years after church. I used to go in the psych wards, whether it was at Tucker, whether it was on Wednesdays for Richmond Community
Okay.
Hospital, whether it was at Parham Doctors Hospital, for years I did this week in and week
Right.
out. So I tell people, if it's not what you think, it's not all feel good. You are going to have patients trying to leave when
Mhm.
you leave. You're going to have patients just, you know, experience symptoms that you might not be
Right.
comfortable with. So you got to know that when you won't know until you experience it. I
Right.
understand that. But once you do, I tell people up front, if I know, no, Tara, this is not going to be
Yeah.
for you. It's not, no, you're not going to be able to do that. And so they look at me like, I want to try. Okay, let's try it. And then it's like, I don't want to do this, because you're dealing with people with all types of symptoms. You are in, what I do, you are in the
Right.
room with them. So you can't be afraid. You got to know your stuff, and you got to know that God is backing you up. So yeah, it's you just
Whew.
know where your anointing lies, and don't lie about your
Lie
anointing.
about your. Ooh, that's a good one. I have to keep that one. I have to keep that one. So
You
listen,
may.
our time is running short, so I want to get through here with just a few more questions for you. I know that you recently launched or relaunched your Talks with T. So tell us all about that, and what it's for, who it's for, and how we can access that line for you.
It is, I was supposed to, God had instructed me a few years ago to start a podcast. So the podcast is called Alive to
Mm,
Tell It, because I'm here. God gave me that the same stretch of
mm,
time where he was teaching me about not being ashamed about mental health illness, and letting me know some doors were going to
right.
open. And I live to tell it. It's a phrase that I use. Another one that, I said, no, I got to wait until I get it trademarked, copywritten, all
Mhm,
the things. And God was like, that's not what I
mhm,
told you to do. And the phrase came from Elder Gwen. People would ask me, how are you doing? And I could be having the most
mhm.
atrocious day. And I would say, I'm
Right.
alive to tell it. So I'm alive to tell it. So the podcast actually launched
Mhm,
last week. Again, my perfectionism um, was trying to take over. And I said, no, you're not worried about fancy intros, outros. You're just going to say what God told you to say, write it down, and you're going to speak it. That is your job, to speak it. And it is for anyone who is alive
mhm,
to tell it. It is targeted to women who are between the age of 55 and 64, or 55 and up. But it is actually for anybody who is ready to rebuild their
mhm.
mindset, and they are ready to do the work. I'll be sharing stories of resilience and overcoming, because it's not all about the story. Your story is a major part of who you are, because it guides sometimes your behaviors that you do. But Alive to Tell It, each will be coming to you each week. Episodes drop on Friday. So I'm excited about it. And it's a podcast it's now time to be brave. It's now time to be courageous. It's now time to stand up flat footed with your chest out, and be who God has called you to be, because you're alive to tell
Wow.
it.
And so, how can they watch that or listen to it?
They can watch that on um, BIT. It's Libsyn is the platform, Libsyn, and the link is bit.ly, the number 4 6, H as in Harry, capital C as in Culton, V as in Victor, small v as in Victor, T as in Tara, small t, and small h as in heaven. So that's bit.ly/4/6, small h as in heaven, capital C as in Colton, small or lowercase VTH. They can catch it. It'll take them right there to the page, and they will be able to see tomorrow's episode once it drops.
Wow. All right. So I'm trying to put it up here. So tell me. Hopefully it's right, and I didn't get it from you prior to. So hopefully it's right.
Oh, that's okay. BIT4H. It
All
is
right,
right.
all right, all right. Great, great, great. So you can check out Alive to Tell It, and it drops on Fridays. but it's available from when it drops. It's available that they can go back and watch it if they miss it when it actually
Yes.
drops. Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. That sounds
Absolutely.
great. We have one of our other co-authors who was on was it last week. Was it
Ah,
last week? I don't know. My weeks are running together. Sounds great for many age groups. She says, that's
oh,
the
thank
teacher
you.
there, so she's thinking about those young too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us, Cherie. So you've been doing so many different wonderful things. You also tell us a little bit about you now also lead virtual solutions. Tell us about that, and how you are moving into this manifestation space while we're here talking about this.
Okay. Yeah, I also have from a virtual platform, from being a virtual assistant to now, I recognize that with some help, I asked God to send someone who could see me, if you will, and He did in a particular training I was taking. So, virtual solutions with TLC encompasses all of the virtual support that I give to female, service focused, faith based entrepreneurs, women who have a lot on their plate. I'm not an online business manager. I know someone wonderful for that, but I come in and I strategically help you with a VIP day. Get let's look at everything, and so that when you get before your online business manager, you have a blueprint in which to move forward. Virtual solutions, even online, when I'm sharing with people and coaching them, it's online. So it can also be in person, but it's virtual. So that's how virtual solutions with TLC came about. And I use that platform to let people know that, hey, I have these gifts and talents. If you need some graphics, I can do that. If you need some copywriting, I can do that. And that's copywriting sans Chat
Okay.
GPT. I know a lot of we go right to Chat GPT, but you want to write it
Okay.
first and then just let AI enhance it in ways that it
Absolutely.
can do that. And I have to keep
Yes.
telling people that when they put these prompts in, like I've created custom
Mhm.
GPTs for clients so that they can offer that as a lead
Mhm.
magnet. So they can go in and say, let's say for you, I create a custom GPT asking people that will keep going through and asking people about their publishing experience, about their
Mhm.
authorship journey. And then it'll give them answers based on what it is that they are doing. But I'm actually writing the prompts, I'm actually telling Chat GPT what to do and creating that custom GPT. So I do that as well. So we've got, and so how does this tie in with the
Mhm.
manifestation? This is all coming to fruition now. The part in the anthology, I'm beginning to write
Mhm.
the book, which is going to be called
All
Alive
right.
to Tell It. We've got virtual solutions with
Mhm.
TLC, which has clients going. We have Talks with T, which is the producer, if you will, of the Alive to Tell It
Mhm.
podcast. And so I'll have an offer out soon under virtual solutions with TLC. Things are beginning to manifest because I finally said yes and stop. This is so important,
Mhm.
Elder Gwen. I said yes and I stopped
Stop
trying to
trying
be
to be perfect.
perfect.
Mm-mm-mm.
Stop trying to be perfect. Just get it out. Done is, but I've said for years, and so have many
Mm-mm.
thousands of other people. Done is better than perfect. Just get it out
Gotta
there.
start
Just
somewhere.
do it.
And
Absolutely.
that's one of the things that I try to tell people, especially authors. They're always like, "Well, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to." Just start writing. Just start writing. Before you know
That's
it,
it.
you'll have so many paragraphs and sentences and putting together a whole story that you did not think you could even do.
Absolutely.
So even with
Absolutely.
building your platform or building your business, you have to start. If you don't start, what did I say in the beginning? A vision with no progress is just another dream, right?
That's it.
Well, I
Absolutely.
am so happy again to have you. How can our audience connect with you to find out more about you?
They can email me at
Mhm.
hello@taraculton.com. That would be the quickest way for them to reach me, or they can find me on my Facebook page at Tara L.
Mhm.
Culton. Facebook is at Tara L. Culton. And then on IG, they can find me at Talks with T.
All right, all right. And you wrote that wonderful chapter, Visionary Momentum Unleashed. So over there, will they be able to purchase the book from you?
Yes, they will be able to purchase at our book release
Woo! We're gonna talk
party.
about that in just a minute. Yes, yes.
Yes, so yeah, they will be able to purchase the book, and just reach out. I will be putting more posts on my page to be able to purchase from me personally, and I really appreciate your support. I mean, Sherry, you're already you know on the team, but to be able to purchase, what I've said was, okay, I'm reaching out to all those people I've
Mhm,
supported in
mhm,
some way.
mhm.
So
Yeah, I know.
please reach out.
I know, I know. That's what we do, right? Um, yeah. So,
Yes,
well, thank you
yes.
so much again for being back in the studio with us. And I know it's not your last time. And we've got so many great things coming up, as Elder Tara has alluded to. We are going to be doing our book release, and we want you to make sure that you do join us for that. It is a free event. There is no fee. Wow. No fee. You could just, we have saved the date, but you don't even have to save the date anymore. Just put the date down. It is in stone. We are, unless, the Lord says otherwise. We are Saturday, October 18th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. We will be hosting our Visionary Momentum Unleashed book release party, and it is a tennis shoe and tee. And I'm going to pop that flyer up in just a moment. And so we just want you to make sure that you go on over to Eventbrite to register to be a part of that. You could just really search it on Eventbrite. I don't know if I have a link for it. I don't think I have a link for it. Everything else I've got a link for, right? I don't have the link for that. But just going over to Eventbrite and look for Visionary Momentum Unleashed release party. And so thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. And we also wish you the best in all of your endeavors. Thank you, Tara. All right,
Thank you so
family.
much.
So you have experienced Elder Tara on today, a wonderful, wonderful individual, and there's just no better way to put what she said on tonight. Just keep these things in mind. You can go and you can follow her. Make sure that you follow her show or her podcast. It is very important, especially in this day and time, that we have connections to individuals who are able to help us navigate through some of these hard times that we're dealing with, and be able to have other individuals who are professionals as well to help us navigate through these times. So listen, as I said, this show was just a wonderful moment that we've had here, and there's just so many more things that we want to make sure that you keep connected, stay connected to us. We have more guests coming. Next week, we've got another great guest. And guess what? She is not a part of our anthology. I know you've been saying, all we've been hearing is these people with this anthology, and we're still excited about it. But she's not a part of our anthology, but she is coming to share her manifestation moments with us. And so join me on next week for another magnificent guest. I do want to give you those announcements once again. So let me go ahead and pop this flyer up here so that you can see what we've been chatting about so much. Visionary Momentum Unleashed. It is time for the woo, yay, we are ready for our book release party. It is going to be held at the New Canaan International Church on 1708 Byron Street, right here in Richmond, Virginia. It is a business casual with colorful tennis shoes is the requested attire. We want you to make sure that you join us. Go right on over to Eventbrite and you can register there for free. Registration is required so that we can make sure that we know that you're coming and we can have enough space for you and make all the provisions for you. So make sure that you join us. We've got our guest moderator. You see her down there in that corner. That is Tasia D. Whitehead, and she is going to be joining us as our guest moderator for our panel that we are going to have, our panel discussion. We have speed networking, we have light refreshments, and then we'll also be having some just fellowship and selling books. So if you have not already purchased your book and you would like, you can come and purchase your book during the event. If you have purchased your book, you can pick up your book at the event, or you can bring your book with you and you can have every one of the authors to sign their chapter. Isn't that exciting? And so make sure that you are in the place with us. It's going to be a fabulous time. It's going to be a fabulous time. So in addition to this event, I also want to tell you about a few other things going on. Well, I'm going to tell you about one more thing going on, and that is there is a conference that is coming on November the 7th and the 8th, and that is Charvette Mitchell's Platform Builder Summit. And so this year I am joining in the party to help you to come and be a part of this great summit. Now, I have been going to this summit. I think I've only missed 1 year going to her summit, and I believe I believe this is her 8th or 9th, I don't know. But it has been nothing but empowerment and great fellowship, networking, just so many things. Many of the people, even Tara, I think I met her at one of Elder Charvette's conferences. So this is, an area where you can go and you can meet other like-minded individuals, women who are working on their ministries and their businesses, and you will be hearing from great speakers that will empower you with so much knowledge and and sometimes they even give you so much content and things that will help you resources that will help you to grow your business. Most times they will. So make sure that you are in the place, and it's just a nice, laid back, fun environment where we are able to come even in our cells and woosah moment while we sit back and learn. There's lunch. It is a VIP experience, and there is lunch, I believe, also, and so many other great components to that. So if you would like to join us at this, you can screenshot this right here, and you can use my link to join us at this event on November the 7th and the 8th. It is, I believe, like from 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But go on over there and get all the details. All right. So last but not least, Elder Tara told you about her book sales, but I'm also selling books. So if you would like to purchase your book from me, feel free to go right on over here and scan. You can scan right here and you can purchase your book. And it is Visionary Momentum Unleashed, Voices of Vision, Stories of Purpose, Passion, and Possibility. We have 9 wonderful authors who are sharing with you their stories. They're sharing their heart actually to you in this book, where we are letting you know that your voice and your vision also matters. Your momentum is now. So feel free to go on over to my website and purchase your copy of Visionary Momentum Unleashed. All right, well, that's my time. I thank you for joining me on today, and we look forward to seeing you back here again next week. Have a wonderfully blessed night.